eye.
That impairment that he couldn't see properly, he then fell, hit his right eye on a desk. When they got to the hospital, it was way too late.
I was completely blind in both eyes. Had come to an end.
This episode really had me in my feels because we get two disabled people in the episode, and both of them have a similar story. And I can only imagine how difficult it is for someone to grow up, you know, being able to see everything, and then one day you just wake up and you can't see anymore. It was heartbreaking to listen to them, but more than anything, it makes you appreciate life a little bit more. So there's this part where Chidi is sharing how he sees the world through his eyes, and the editors did an incredible job demonstrating how he's describing it. I was amazed. It was pretty well done. And then he shares that living here in Nigeria as a blind person is so difficult because the city is not built for blind people.
Lagos is the biggest city in Africa. Everywhere is congested.
The streets are poorly built. There's so much transit going around. He is also a devoted Christian. He prays daily. God gave him the tools to walk through his disability. Not only did he send him that,
and the Lord truly blessed me when he sent Renee to me.
Chidi and Renee communicate with one another through, you know, like any one of us, but he has assistants on his phone through softwares that allow him to speak to her.
Dream of me, Red Heart 1134.
Wow.
And he's telling us that he actually didn't want to tell her that he was blind for a while until, you know, Renee was sending him photos, you know, here and there. Look who I am, look at me. And Chidi was not responding to her. He wasn't telling her anything like you're pretty or how beautiful or anything like that. So she was like, you know, what's going on? But he was still being incredibly nice to her, so she didn't question it.
After another month or so, I sent a
She
picture.
finally confronts him and she tells him, you know, why haven't I gotten a reaction from you? And Chidi says, you know, it's just because I'm blind.
He thought I was going to run away or reject him.
We find out later that Reyne loves the fact that he's blind. Chidi is really hoping that his impairment is not going to be a deal breaker for them.
I'm worried how difficult a life with me might be.
And I personally don't think that she does, but we'll talk about this in a bit. Renee is on her way to clear out some units because she gets income from selling eggs, but also she clears out units, and whatever she finds, you know, she resells it. And that's how she makes money. So Renee is talking to her mom and her mom's friends. She's known them since she was little. And they're asking her, you know, are you nervous? Have you thought about like the neighborhood? Are you going to be okay?
Well, yeah, but you take that big of a chance when you really, really, really love someone. Like, I feel like soulmate ties.
She says that when she heard that Chidi was blind, that did it for her. Because right here, you can connect with this person emotionally and spiritually. And there's nothing physical about this connection. She talks about how she's been very self-conscious about her body and how she doesn't find herself attractive or doesn't think that other people find her attractive. I don't care what I have to do. I'll tie him up to the bed, but he'll change his mind. We're not going to church because I'm gonna make him woke. When he realizes that there's no God out there, I'm gonna make him woke. I don't like when people use the word woke just for funsies, okay? I feel like it has taken such a huge turn to what woke actually means. Initially meant someone that is aware of and actively attentive to important facts and issues, especially issues of racial and social justice. That's what woke means, okay? So you saying that you're gonna turn him into someone that is not religious and that you're gonna make him realize that, you know, his God is not really there with him and you not going to church has nothing to do with being woke. That's just you believing that his religion does not matter. 100 super quick. I think that's a red flag. You should be able to control your emotions when you're having a conversation with people. And I understand that maybe because it's her family, you know, pretty much like those ladies have known her mom forever. They known her for years. So I could see why she reacted the way that she did. But is this how you're going to react to Chidi when you see him? When you guys encounter a problem, is this going to be your reaction? We cut back to Chidi.
I live with my sister and her husband.
And not only does he live with them, but they also gave him a room. They support him financially and they take care of him. So when he shared with them that Renee was coming, they were extremely excited.
Renee is a very sexy woman. Even hearing her talk to me alone sometimes, has something it does to me.
The issue is that he made a promise to God to never have sex until marriage. Renee is over there thinking that they're going to have sex, while Chidi is over here telling us that he's not having sex with her until they get married.
I didn't tell her that she would be staying in a separate bedroom.
So he's again hiding things because he's afraid that she's going to reject him. And then he starts talking to his sister, and his sister's like, I'm so happy to have you here. And he's like, well, I hope your home is exceptional.
We don't have heaven on earth. We have.
Now, they are talking to each other right now, and she asked him to write something because she says that she is a certified handwriting expert.
You are very optimistic, is showing that you have a high self-esteem.
Are you also able to tell if this relationship is gonna work out with this whole handwriting thing? And then she pulls out her phone, and I was like, is she getting this out of an app? Is she getting this out of an app? Because now I'm starting to question, is this real? Is she just messing with us? I don't know. She says that she got a lot of answers from his handwriting, but she wasn't able to understand if he's good in bed or not because his Y was not cursive. So she can't tell, because I guess that's how you are able to tell.
Doubt. Be skeptical. Hard to believe.
I'm so confused by this couple. Now Tigerlily is on her way to see her life coach because she is also one of her best friends, and she just wants to talk to her about her life decisions. She's been fucking up. She's fucking up right now. So she's having a conversation with her, and she's like, yeah, a lot of things are gonna change, and there's so many decisions that I'm making.
But there's something I haven't told you yet. The day that I meet him, we're getting married.
You have been talking to this man for 4 months. You have 2 children, and you're about to marry someone that you just met, that you haven't even lived with. You haven't even met in person. Have you considered what damage it's going to do to your relationship with your kids?
That can make me feel sick if I look at you.
You're kidding.
No.
You are really dumb. For real.
And then Tigerlily explains to us that the reason why they're doing this is because since he's Muslim, they are not supposed to even be together in the same room. They're not supposed to even go out without, a chaperone.
Adnan told me that we have to get married right away because he is Muslim.
You are telling us that you literally got yourself out of a controlling relationship, and now you're about to get in a relationship with someone that comes from a Muslim country. Sorry, man out there, but you guys are controlling. And not only that, but he does show later on in this episode that he has already told her what she can't and what she cannot wear. And I also don't understand why you that have 2 kids have made the decision to marry someone that you just met, and you have only had conversations with this person over the phone.
There's a lot of things at risk here. What about your money? How are you going to protect yourself?
Another important question that she just decides not to even think about is, what about your money? Do you have a prenup in place? And she doesn't, because she says she is now worried about his finances. Maybe you guys are sitting there thinking, well, maybe he makes more money than her. She doesn't even know because they haven't even had the conversation of finance.
No, why would we do that? It's just weird.
What's weird is you marrying someone that you don't even know and you not even putting a prenup in place to protect yourself and your kids' lives. He tells us that where he is from, which is Chicago, gun violence is extremely common. And as we know here in the US, we do have a gun violence problem that needs to be tackled. He also shares with us that his dad was not around when he was growing up for him or for his brothers and sisters.
So my mom mostly raised us on her own. She did the best she could, but it was a constant struggle.
Brian also shares that at the age of 19, he married his high school sweetheart. He had a child with her. And after 3 years of being married, they got divorced.
My daughter was everything to me, so I did whatever I could to support her.
When he said the word was, I got scared because he starts talking to us about an accident that occurred when he was 27 years old. One day he was coming home from work and there was a guy across the street that made it over to his car. He had a gun on him. And Brian realized at this point that he was being carjacked.
Being a young guy from the inner city, get away from the situation.
He thought to himself, I can take on these two people. But unfortunately, that was not the case because quickly after this, he got shot on his spine and it was instant paralysis from the waist down. It just goes to show that, like I said earlier for Chidi, one day things could be great. And then all of a sudden, your world just collapses and everything changes.
Once I'm in the hospital, doctor told me, now you gotta start over.
He says that even after all the things that he has been through, he is glad because it has made him who he is now. Then we cut to a scene where he is getting ready. He's showing us what his day-to-day looks like.
How long does getting ready take in the morning?
I give me 2.
It's very interesting to be able to see all of this. I think, honestly, TLC did a great job with picking the cast this go around. He can still move his arms, he can move his legs, but unfortunately, he cannot move them enough to walk.
So I have atrophy in my hand, so I don't have that muscle to close it, so I can't grab so many things.
And also, he can only feel half of his arm. I just think that's so insane that, you know, he has adjusted his life so much to the point that he's able to support himself. He knew that his life was never going to be the same.
I was introduced to wheelchair rugby.
Not only that, but he also made it to the USA team and he started playing internationally for about 4 years. This also allowed him to travel to 10 different countries, way more than I've been to. I only been to 2 countries, technically, Mexico and the US. And between all the places he went to, he visited Brazil and he fell in love with Brazil so much that he decided to stay there for a while. Played in Brazil for a couple years, then he took on a coaching role, he learned Portuguese, and then he started dating the States. And at first, I was a little worried when I hear him say that. And I was thinking, is he going to be one of like those people like Ed or that guy that what's his name? I think Mike. You guys remember Mike, the guy that was like bald and he was pretty like quirky, super awkward, and he got into a relationship with Jimena and Jimena was just like not into him. Yeah, he was reminding me of that for that specific second, okay? But then he goes on to say that the reason why he enjoys dating in Brazil more than he does here in the United States is because...
But Brazilian women, they're much more open to disability. Brazil.
Yeah, he had multiple relationships. He had a failed marriage. And he started to think that maybe love was not in the cards for him. But that is until he met Ingrid. She is 32 years old and is a single mom from Tocantins. And he says that it finally feels like this is the one. This is the time. It is time for him to find love and be happy for the rest of his life.
We talk daily and we just hit it off right away.
And I'm not gonna lie, I am incredibly worried for him. He also shares that in the past, he has chosen the wrong people to be in his life, but that Ingrid is different, that she's caring, she's mature, she's loving, she's funny. I always get concerned when I hear people say, you know, I've always chosen wrong in the past and now I'm going to choose the right person, because as I've said in the past, humans are prone to repeating toxic cycles. So I do have my doubts about Ingrid. And even though Ingrid knows about his disability,
Ingrid has no idea what all this entails.
what I go through in the morning.
I already feel iffy about people like her and Renee because I feel like they have done zero to no research about what being with someone with a disability entails and all the work that they have to do. Later on, we're going to have a conversation about his sex life. And I think that is an important conversation to have that I'm pretty sure he hasn't had with her, and Ingrid has not even questioned how that's going to work out. She kind of has like this like, no, why would I be ashamed of you, right? And it doesn't seem genuine. It seems like she is lying. I'm speaking for the Latino community here, and this is just what I grew up with. Older people can see people with disabilities and at times think of them as less of and just a burden to society. I know, for example, in my family, my grandparents saw my aunts that do have a disability as less of. So I understand why maybe Ingrid is not sharing that information with her family members, because maybe they have that mindset. Incredibly capable person, and he has shown that he can fend for himself. Brian is getting ready to take off so he can go see the love of his life in Tocantins, and he says that his main worry is not the plane. We already know that airlines are not accommodating to people in wheelchairs, so he's already used to that. The problem is that he has never traveled to a town like Tocantins that is so remote. His daughter Brianna is off to pick him up, and when she picks him up and they get in the car to go to the airport, Brian shares that he was incredibly excited this morning, but now he is nervous. And Brianna asks him, why are you nervous?
Trying to do this like again and again, and like with different people, and like it's tiring.
Is it the fact that you've been to Brazil many times for relationships? And then he shares with us that he hasn't only been married twice, he's been married 4 times.
I also had several relationships in Brazil, including a few failed engagements.
The people that he has dated have been younger than him. I mean, Ingrid is 20 years younger than him. The age gap is there. The differences are there. So he's wondering if this is going to finally work out. He is worried. Brianna is worried. This is not the first time that he's going to Brazil to get into a relationship. And when she asks him what is different about Ingrid, what makes you think this is the love of your life? First off, she hasn't asked him for money, that she has 2 kids, and she hasn't at any point said, you know, can I have money for my kids? She has been through many struggles. And
I don't think the other ones have had that life experience. So I think life experience is really important.
Brianna then says, I just want to make sure that you're not going there with the ring already when you're just meeting this woman for the first time. And he tells her, no, I don't have a ring with me. You don't have anything to worry about.
Can't promise anything. I can't, because if I do fall head over heels and everything.
Which I find incredibly respectful, that you are not making promises that you cannot keep.
It's become kind of like a family joke.
I think it's concerning to see that he's repeating a cycle over and over again and not finding any success. It comes a time in your life when you realize that you cannot be making the same mistake over and over again, expecting a different result. So I am worried about Brian. Again, at the end of the day, these are the decisions that he's making as an adult. And at the end of the day, the consequences of his actions are gonna come no matter what. But at the same time, I am pretty sure that that is one of her goals. I'm not gonna harp on her for wanting to give her children a better life in the US, but I do hope that she is actually in love with Brian and she's not toying with his feelings.
Ingrid doesn't even know the whole story of how I ended up in a wheelchair in the first place. My carjacking was not some random event.
I had a feeling that this carjack thing was not just a random event, that it was actually targeted or something had happened. So he's probably gonna share with us more of it in the future. I'm saying this right now, so if it does happen in the next episode, even if it was gang related or because he was doing something illegal, I have a feeling that Brian has changed. Is it important to know? Yes. Does it make a difference right now? Not really, honestly. Like, I feel like even after all the things that he has been through and whatever it is that happened that day, he has already received his punishment. But that is all we have for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are about the new cast. I am loving it so far, and I really hope that you guys are too. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You can also become part of my members and get this cute little badges and also the cute little emojis that I have of myself. See you guys guys next week. Bye.